So if you're anything like me, then in the past few months, you've probably seen a lot of videos on your YouTube recommended feed of Americans reacting to confused Americans in Europe. And look, I myself have made a few of these videos because they are so trendy and they're so fun to watch and to make. That said, I do feel like those videos have a fatal flaw, which is that those videos tend to conflate all European countries. And as you probably know, if you're from Europe or if you've been to Europe, Europe is not a monolith. And the reason why I refer to Europe as Europe is simply because it's a catch-all term for all the places in Europe I've been to. And I also believe that although they are very culturally different from one another, the countries that is, they have a lot more in common with each other than they do the US, or let's say for example Thailand, where I'm filming this video right now. That said, I think it's time for someone to make a video appreciating, or at the very least acknowledging, the cultural differences between these European countries. Bearing that in mind, in this video, I'm going to be reacting to confused Americans in not just Europe, but the Netherlands in particular. And the reason why I'm starting with this country in particular is because that is the country where I not only lived for 14 months, but it's the country where I plan to settle down with my girlfriend here within the next 5 or 6 years. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this first video.
3 Dutch things that would send an American into a coma. And just for reference, right now I'm in Eindhoven in the Netherlands. So I know a lot of...
So Eindhoven is in Brabant. I want to say that's the biggest city in Brabant, but I could be wrong. It could be Den Bosch or even Tilburg, maybe Breda. Those are the cities that I'm the most familiar with, but it's nice to see someone who's not in Amsterdam, because I feel like that's where all the Americans go. They all flock to Amsterdam and the surrounding areas. But I reckon I'm going to resonate a lot more with this right here, because I lived in Brabant for 13 of those 14 months that I was there. The other month I was in Gelderland.
A lot of you have heard about Amsterdam. This is a bit more south, more rural, and a bit smaller. So let's get into it. Number 1, these are what the public trash cans look like. And it should be noted that right now I'm walking around a more residential area, so not all trash cans look like this. But I've quite literally never seen a trash can up and on its side. Like, what?
Wait, I've never seen that before. That must just be an Eindhoven specific thing. Or if you're from somewhere else in the Netherlands that you have trash cans like this, then please let me know in the comments, because in the areas that I was in, I never saw trash cans that look like this. But I do feel like it's cool. There's a lot of novelty to it. I don't know how much more functional it is than your vertical trash can. But yeah, that must just be an Eindhoven specific thing though. They did not have those in Kaatsheuvel, in Sprangkapelle, in Waalwijk, in Vasten. Those are the cities that I was in. Didn't see them in Tilburg, Den Bosch, Breda, or even Utrecht. The day I went to Utrecht with my girlfriend, I never saw trash cans that looked like this.
What's the purpose of this? I get for convenience, but what do you want to do if you have to throw away a liquid? It's just gonna seep out. Number 2, there are 3 streets. 1 for pedestrians, 1 for bikers, and 1 for regular cars. I love this so much because it's so cute and so Dutch. Only Dutch people would make a certain street just for bikes. And number...
The way she's describing the bike lanes is so funny to me. She said it's so cute. They make streets just for bikes. That's pretty interesting because that's actually the norm in every European country I've been to. I haven't been to a country in Europe that didn't have bike lanes. Granted, I believe, just based on my experience, maybe Denmark has something to say about this, I don't know, but I believe the Netherlands has the best biking infrastructure in the world, and that includes the rest of Europe. Valencia was pretty good as well. Didn't try biking in London or Belgium or Switzerland, but that Dutch cycling infrastructure is top-notch. It's top-notch, it's world-class. You have the wide biking lanes. I mean, let's go back and see.
3 streets.
Look, wide biking lanes. They're very easy to see, easy to spot. You'll never have a car accidentally drive on the bike lane because it's pretty obvious that it's not for cars. And they're smooth. They don't even have potholes on the bike lanes. That's how you know the Dutch engineers, Dutch urban planners, etc., they put a lot of thought into the transportation infrastructure in the Netherlands. Is because not only is it planned in a very efficient way, but the upkeep is on point as well. But it's interesting to hear her call them streets for bikes.
Streets. One for pedestrians, one for bikers, and one for regular cars. I love this so much because it's so cute and so Dutch. Only Dutch people would make a certain street just for bikes. And number 3, you can pick your own eggs in the supermarket. They literally have it laid out for you. I don't know why, but this just feels so weird and cute and very...
I don't know that I recall seeing that. Now, mind you, I'm vegan. I don't eat eggs. That could be the reason why, but I don't really remember seeing that.
I don't know why, but this just feels so weird.
You just have open egg cartons like this. Is this a thing everywhere in the Netherlands? Because I don't remember that. And let me know if this is, what supermarkets do they do this at? Because I pretty much exclusively went to Albert Heijn and Jumbo. Never really went to the other grocery stores. So maybe it's just at other grocery stores, or maybe I just wasn't observant enough. And again, I don't eat eggs, so I don't buy them. But that's definitely a very, very interesting thing. And to your point, it is very Dutch, because Dutch people love saving money at every possible opportunity. And if they have an opportunity to get just a few eggs because that's all they need to save a few euros, they're going to do that. Honestly, I aspire to be as frugal as Dutch people. Hence why I moved to Thailand, because I'm trying to save as much money as possible. This apartment right here, I'm paying something like $430, $440 per month.
So weird and cute and very Dutch. Like when I think of the Netherlands, I just think of little cute things, and this, for whatever reason, just 100%
like my girlfriend
fits the aesthetic. So let me know which of these actually shocked you, and let me know if you have bike lanes in your own country, because I haven't yet seen this. At least in the US and other countries that I've been to, they do have bike lanes, but they're not their own specific paved out place. It's just...
Yeah, I feel like in at least Switzerland, from what I recall, you had bike lanes, but they weren't separated from the street. Maybe it's just the part of Zurich I was in. I was only there for, I think, 20 hours or something like that, and half the time was spent sleeping or in the hotel. But Valencia, you did have separate bike lanes, from what I recall. And I really liked how they separated the bike lanes, because on a lot of streets in Valencia, they had the street, or I guess the road where the cars were. You had the parking for cars, so cars could parallel park on the side of the road, and then on the other side of the cars, you had the bike lanes. I actually like that system a lot more than switching the parked cars and the bike lanes. I'd much rather have that barrier of parked cars to prevent any sort of mishap, which could obviously put your life at risk. That's just me though. But in terms of the actual bike lanes themselves, the width of them and the quality of them, the amount of potholes they had in some sections of the bike lanes in Valencia, it's a night and day difference. But Valencia is closer to the Netherlands than the US is to Valencia. The only place I've seen in the US that had its own designated, dedicated bike lane is Santa Monica on the beach. Everywhere else that I've seen bike lanes, they're kind of just haphazardly put on the side of the road, and they're not really safe to be on. So that's definitely something that, and look, I'm beating a dead horse here. I've talked about this in many, many videos, but that's something the US really needs to elevate its game on, is the cycling infrastructure and the pedestrian infrastructure as well. She kind of brushed over it earlier in the video, but if you're Dutch, don't take those sidewalks for granted, because there are many, many cases in the US where you'll have a sidewalk, and the sidewalks tend to be a lot narrower, and the sidewalk will just end with no warning, no signage, nothing. It'll just suddenly end, and you either have to walk on the grass, or you walk on the street, or you turn around and just go home, or you go the long way, or you drive, which is what most Americans choose to do. So I'm not gonna lie, that's something I really truly miss about the Netherlands, is just the transportation infrastructure. Again, world class. On to the next video.
Hey, my name is Caitlin, and these are some culture shocks I experienced when moving from the USA to the Netherlands. The first thing I noticed was probably the significance of the city center, and I will be taking you there now. I am actually inside my boyfriend's parents' bar right now, which is located outside of the city center, so I will just be walking through the city center and showing you some of the things that I saw when I first came here. So right now I am walking towards the city center, and I will show you what that looks like. So this is the bridge going into the city center. Very beautiful. The city center is very bike friendly. It is very friendly to pedestrians that are walking, and this is where people spend a majority of their time when they are not working or doing something else. So before we even get
You know what? I have a funny little story about this. So I remember the first time my girlfriend came and visited me in the US. We were in the city that I grew up in, Lewisville, Texas, which you can go on Google Maps, look up Lewisville, Texas, and literally just drop the pin pretty much anywhere, and you'll get a sense for why I found her question so baffling, because I literally had no reference point for what she was talking about. But one of the first things that I remember her asking me was, "Where's the city center? Where's the city center in Lewisville?" And I was like, "What do you mean, city center? What is a city center?" And she was kind of explaining it to me, but in my head, I was thinking, okay, we have that in New York, or maybe if you go to downtown Dallas or something like that, but you don't just have a city center in a suburb like Louisville. In the Netherlands, even in a place like Fassen, with a population of 12,000 people, okay, if you've been to Fassen, you know this is a place that is out in the sticks. You go there to get away from it all. Even they have a city center. They have a city center with a Plein, all of that. And of course, the city center is not going to be as large or as busy as the city center of, let's say, Rotterdam or any other larger city. But the point is, it's there. They have a centralized place where people go to congregate. A city like LA, for example, Los Angeles, I think what throws a lot of people off about LA is that it literally does not have that. Despite being the second most populated city in the US, it doesn't have a city center. There's no one specific area that people go to. It's just a collection of different suburbs. You just don't have that one centralized place. So I don't know, that really tripped me out. That served as a very big culture shock for my girlfriend specifically when she visited the US.
get into the city center, we have this bridge here, which many people will put their names and the name of their partner and solidify the relationship over the bridge going into the city center. If you're not from here, the
So wait, let me go back real quick.
partner and
I wonder if they break up, does somebody come with a key and just unlock it and throw it away or something? What happens then?
solidify the relationship over the bridge going into the city center. If you're not from here, the city center can be a little bit chaotic. There's often a lot of people there, especially on a Friday or a Saturday. So as we get closer, we kind of see there's a lot of people, there's a lot going on. Definitely scary when I first came here. So as we get closer to the city center, you see many things that you would not see in the US. People enjoying a drink, eating outdoors, spending good quality time with their families. And as you get even closer, you get views like the one we see in front of us. Oh my God.
If you're Dutch, I don't know if she mentioned what city she's in specifically, but if you're Dutch and you know where she's at, let me know because I'm very curious. This city center looks a little different than the ones that I've been to. In terms of the architecture, at least. Definitely a lot more of a historical feel.
Oh my God. And as we go by, we see a popular cafe, a fun little dance club. It is beautiful. So I'm actually outside of the gate of one of the castles over here. Absolutely beautiful. From what I've heard, you can actually do tours around the churches. They're very historically significant and older than the US itself. So we're getting closer to the heart and we're moving a little bit closer to more businesses and more shops where people will frequent on the weekends. Can't forget dinner. So we are actually about to get to one of my favorite places in the Netherlands, which is De Toren. In the Netherlands, it's very popular to pair french fries with either mayonnaise or a peanut sauce.
That's one thing that I didn't have because, again, I'm vegan, so I haven't had that. My girlfriend did make some vegan capsalon one time, and that right there, now that I think about it, in retrospect, that might be my favorite dish that I had out there in terms of cooked food. I like stamppot, I like bitterballen, I like frikandel, but that capsalon did hit differently. Hit entirely differently. But one thing that I really love about the Netherlands and really a lot of European places that I've been to in general is that, again, you can be in a smaller place, but you still have that dense, lively feel. You have that ambiance. In the US, you literally have to go to a place like New York, Chicago, or, I mean, really, that's kind of it, to experience that kind of urbanity, so to speak. I don't even know if urbanity is a word, but you have to go to a city like that. And of course, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. You're going to be paying, if you want to live in or near a city that has this kind of place or has places like this, you're going to be paying probably a minimum of $2,000 a month in rent. Whereas in the Netherlands, of course, you can be in Amsterdam and pay a similar price for rent, but when you go to a place like, let's say, Tilburg, you're probably not going to be paying that much in rent, and you're still going to have this. You're going to have something similar to this. Whereas back home in Louisville, you do not have this. Or if you do have anything like this, a lot of times there are cars driving through, revving their engines, and just generally ruining the experience.
Look at the tower in the background, oh my god. This street right here isn't so much places to eat or grab a drink, it's more retailers and clothing stores, which I found to be very affordable and very, very nice. In the US, on average, you'll pay about $15 or $20 to get a t-shirt, whereas over here you can find something very affordable that is much higher quality than what we would find back home.
It's also interesting now that I think about it, in a lot of Dutch cities or Dutch towns, Dutch villages, etc., it seems like life is predicated on the outdoors. So I didn't really see a whole lot of indoor shopping malls. Not that they don't exist. I think I did visit the Westfield Mall in Utrecht very, very briefly. And I'm sure there are other malls throughout the Netherlands, but most of the shopping areas look like this. They're outdoors, and then you have the outdoor cafes or the outdoor restaurants where you have a lot of seating outdoors. And the reason why this fascinates me is because the Netherlands isn't known for having the best weather. Obviously, on a day like this, you're going to see people outside. But it seems like Dutch people are just completely immune to bad weather. They do not care if it's rainy, if it's snowing. They're going to go outside and they are going to get some fresh air. They're going to go to a shopping center like this and they're going to enjoy themselves.
Also, I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, but everyone walks or bikes here. And as an American, that's something that is a little bit foreign to me, as we do not do a lot of walking. Yeah, there we go. I always forget not to walk too far because then you'll have to walk back. So I am headed back currently. It's a beautiful church tower again. I'm not sure if today was the best day to film this, considering the city center is not that busy today, but if you catch people on the weekend, it is packed.
Honestly, that's probably the best time to go, is when it's a little less busy like this. I mean, as an introvert at least. But it's interesting, she said she doesn't want to walk too far because she doesn't want to have to walk back. I feel like a lot of times in the Netherlands, you can just take the bus back. I mean, if you walk that far, you can probably find a bus stop near you that will take you at least somewhat close to where you started off at. At least in my experience, that was the case. There are frequent bus stops, even in smaller towns. So I know if she's in a bigger town, that will also be the case. But that's why I like cycling. I don't like walking at all. I'd much rather be on a bicycle. I think it's the most efficient form of transportation that there is. Hence why I love the Netherlands so much.
They throw it in again. It is actually so awkward filming yourself in public.
Tell me about it.
And once again, a beautiful view of the church and the tower. If you're an American and you're considering moving to Europe, one thing they will never tell you is it gets very hot here as it does back home. Currently dying. So I guess
I don't know where she's from, but I never felt as hot in the Netherlands as I did growing up in Texas. Now, obviously, Texas is an extreme example, but based on her saying that, I know she's not from Texas at least. Maybe she's from California or somewhere like that, where it doesn't get as hot. But in Texas, it regularly, every single year, gets into the 40s, Celsius that is. Those temperature extremes are something else. But on a day like this right here, on a day like this in particular, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that there is nowhere in the world that is better to be in than the Netherlands.